Good evening and good Monday evening. It's Monday. It sure as hell is a Monday. Where do we want to go tonight? Where do we want to go? I only want to do like 10 to 15 minutes. I don't want to get too crazy like I normally do. But where do we go tonight? Big story. You guys need to be keeping up. GameStop, Game Stonks. Pay attention. Don't get distracted by silver. Don't get distracted by anything else. GameStop, AMC, Nokia, BlackBerry. Pay attention. Mainstream media is pumping out fake news. But what else is new? We got that going on, obviously. We got the unconstitutional impeachment proceedings kicking off later this week here. Do we want to do that? Or is it next week? I don't know. Gets kind of convoluted. They make up the rules as they go along. It's actually kind of funny. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Mitch McConnell's going after her full bore. And that's going to be delicious watching. Where do we go? Where do we go? Well, I'll tell you where we go. For months now, we've talked about the potential for a third party getting kicked up. A Trump party, as it were. And I've been kind of conflicted going back and forth. I don't know. Do we start this third party and work our way up? Or do you take over the GOP? I mean, they have the infrastructure. They have the machinery. Why not just do a hostile takeover? And this has been a point of contention going back and forth in conservative circles with the pluses and minuses on whether or not to have a third party like that. A lot of the establishment old guard folks will tell you that it's a foolish ploy because all you will do is let the Democrats continue, to win. Whereas those of us that are kind of on the fence and those that are saying, hell yeah, we need a third party, they're saying, no. Democrats are already winning. So you can't really use that line that the Democrats are going to win. They're winning. And they're winning because nobody did anything about the RINOs and ever Trumpers and anything else like that. So it's a bit of a conundrum. But here's something that I think a lot of us didn't foresee. And before I get into the story, I want to say what's up to Shannon. How are you? Shannon in the chat room. We got Harold in here doing phenomenal. Thank you, sir. Janelle, I think she's in here. Think I saw her. Not sure. Kimberly, how are you tonight? Good to see you. Got some of that STS action. That's right. See, that would take like 20, 30 minutes to talk about those executive orders. We're talking about 42 of them. Who signs 42 other than a dictator? Well, a dictator. How about that? Shannon on no third parties. Interesting. But I think some folks might be taking over for us here. They may take the decision out of our hands. Before I share my screen, though, I do want to make sure, guys, please make sure you guys like, share, comment, all that other good stuff on these episodes we put out here. I will be repurposing it. I will be putting it on the podcast, the Caramel Conservative Podcast. I'll put it up on BitChute, Rumble, Odyssey. As a matter of fact, I hear Odyssey is going to be having a live streaming platform soon, and I will be getting kicked off on that there because I'm kind of tired of the whole YouTube thing and all the garbage coming out from there. But like I said, like, share, subscribe. Just don't smash that like button too hard. We need to do it repeatedly. But let's go. Let's share some screen action here. Let's pop this up. We want to look at this. So like I said, there was a period of time where people are like, you know what? We can't have a third party. Republicans will lose. Well, damn. It looks like, and let's go full screen on this. It looks like a bunch of the neocons, the old guard Republicans, the never Trumpers, looks like they're about to jettison themselves. Looks like they're going to try to pick up their toys and leave the sandbox, which, of course, is going to beg the question. Are they starting a third party? Or are they just going to go ahead and jump in with the Democrats as they already have? Well, to answer those questions and ask ourselves a lot more, Let's take a look at the following. So in this story here, dozens of Republicans in former George W.H. Bush's administration are leaving the party, dismayed by a failure of many elected Republicans to disown Donald Trump after his false claims of election fraud sparked a deadly storming of the U.S. Capitol last month. Now, I'm going to interject some points here, there, and a little of everywhere. Deadly storming of the Capitol. Yes, people died, and it was horrible. Here's the thing. It never should have happened. Capitol Police, Secret Service, a lot of the other law enforcement officers, if you knew there was going to be a rally of any type of that order with that many people, why did they not have enhanced security around the perimeter of this building unless they wanted this to happen? Throwing that out there. These officials, some who served at the highest echelons of the Bush administration, said that they hoped that a Trump defeat would lead party leaders to move on from the former president and denounce his baseless claims that the November presidential election was stolen. Let's stop there, because I'm fascinated by this, because what we're seeing here is literally a depersoning of Donald Trump. They are trying to literally erase the footprint of his presidency from American history, period, point blank. Like, don't be surprised in future years if the establishment has their way. What if they end up literally skipping from Obama going to Biden, and just kind of like Germany doesn't really talk about World War II Germany. They just kind of glaze over that part of history. Yeah, don't be surprised. But I don't think that's going to happen. Well, anyway, as far as baseless claims, you can't call them baseless when you didn't even allow for an investigation. You didn't even allow for trials to be heard. You didn't even allow for evidence to be presented. Everything was stopped up procedurally. And why? Why is the question on that? But with most Republican lawmakers sticking to Trump, these officials say they no longer recognize the party they serve. They serve. These guys are like hedge fund managers. Some have even ended their membership. Others are letting it lapse, while a few are newly registered as independents, according to a dozen former Bush officials who spoke with Reuters. The Republican Party, as I knew it, no longer exists. Hear, hear. That's a beautiful thing. I'd call it the cult of Trump, said Jimmy. I'm not pronouncing his last name because I'll probably end up butchering it. Who was the Undersecretary of the Treasury for Terrorism and Finance Intelligence? The Undersecretary of the Treasury for Terrorism and Finance Intelligence. Did you just make this office up? Like that's a mouthful. That's what she said. I know, but that's a lot to say. Well, anyway. Christopher Purcell, who worked in the Bush White House communications office for 6 years, said roughly 60 to 70 former Bush officials have decided to leave the party and are cutting ties with it from conversations he's been having. The number is growing every day, Purcell said. Their defection from the Republican Party after a lifetime of service for many is another clear sign of how a growing inter-party conflict over Trump and his legacy is fracturing it. The party is currently caught between disaffected moderate Republicans and independents disgusted by the hold Trump still has over elected officials and Trump's fervently loyal base. Fervently. I love how they use that. Pay attention to the narrative that's painted through the words that they choose to use. Fervently. That means not logically. That doesn't mean, it means without thought process. It means rabid. It means fevered. It means like a zombie going at their flesh meat, a la Walking Dead when it used to be a good show. Without the enthusiastic support of both groups, the party will struggle to win national elections, according to polling, Republican officials and strategists have said. The RNC referred Reuters to a recent interview in its chair, Rhonda McDaniel, gave to Fox Business Channel. We're having a bit of a spat right now. A bit. She's so cute. A bit of a spat. But we're going to come together. We have to, McDaniel said, predicting the party will unite against the agenda of President Joe Biden, a Democrat. We're going to stop there for a second. You mean to tell me we're going to unite against the agenda of Joe Biden, when the people that are having the hissy fit and wanting to leave were the very ones that voted and endorsed Joe Biden? You want to talk about cognitive dissonance here. Well, anyway, representatives of Trump did not respond for a request for comment. A representative for former President George Bush did not respond for a request for comment. During the Trump presidency, Bush made clear he had retired from politics. Sure. It's appalling. The next part says more than half of the Republicans in Congress, 8 senators, 139 House representatives voted to block certification of the election just hours after the Capitol siege. You know, that is their constitutional right to do so, as Democrats have done each and every time a Republican has been elected president. But hey, let's not let facts get in the way, right? This is 2021. Most Republican senators have also indicated they would not support the impeachment of Trump, making it almost certain that the former president won't be convicted in a Senate trial. Trump was impeached on January 13th by the Democrat-led House of Representatives on a charge of incitement of insurrection, the only president to be impeached twice, which is a complete and utter sham. The unwillingness by party leaders to disavow Trump was the final straw for some Republican officials. If it continues to be the party of Trump, many of us are not going back. Rosario Marin, the former Treasury of the U.S. under Bush, told Reuters, unless the Senate convicts him and rids themselves of the Trump cancer, many of us will not be going back to vote for Republican leaders. God, I cannot wait to tear this thing apart. 2 former Bush officials have spoke to Reuters and said that they believe it is important to stay in the party to rid it of Trump's influence. I'm going to stop right here. There's not much more, and I'm just going to stop because at this point, I almost feel like I need to. I'm. This is one of those moments where I recognize me personally. I need Jesus. Because I can't do this alone, because I'm about to go off on this. And here's the thing. When these people, they use the terminology, when they use the vernacular, when they use the words that they have strategically chosen, you have to understand a lot of these people, they're extremely intelligent individuals. They know what it is that they're saying. And the words that they choose are pinpoint. They're exact. It is what they mean. When you call it a Trump cancer, really? Okay, so then what you're saying is that Trump was the cancer, and over here, the rest of us, those of us that supported him and still do, we are the byproduct of cancer, which is a metastasization of that cancer. We are an infection. That's what you're saying by calling it Trump a Trump cancer. That's how I'm seeing it. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but this is one of those things. Yes, Joe, absolutely correct. Pray to the Goya God for peace. I had some Goya earlier today. It was off the hook. Off the hook. So when you call it a Trump cancer, that's exact. You're dehumanizing the Trump base. I get it. I see where you're coming from. And I asked this question as I post this on several different forums as we debate the points back and forth on whether or not to have a third party, stick with the Republican Party. But I bring this up because a lot of people, the old guard Republican, the legacy Republicans, these people say time and time again that we need to stay with them because otherwise we're going to lose elections. Okay, that is a fair and valid argument. I'll grant you that. But here's my thing. Most of you people voted for Biden. You haven't purged the party, people like Paul Ryan, Mitt Romney, Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski. You didn't get rid of any of those folks. But yet they're the ones creeping out of the woodwork and popping off at the mouth as if somehow we're supposed to listen to them, as if somehow they're now leadership. That's a freaking joke. That's like saying we're all going to galvanize around Mitt Romney and third time is going to be a charm for him. Go Mitt! Carpetbagger extraordinaire. I am so sick of Mitt Romney. So 60, 70 former Bush officials are now vamoose. They can't deal with Trump. But here's a question I have. Everyone likes to demonize Donald Trump. Everyone likes to say how such a horrible person. Okay, let's have that conversation. How exactly was Donald Trump bad? Third time was only a charm for Biden because at his particular adult mental state, he was much more malleable than the, ruffian that he used to be back when he used to hang out with Corn Pop. But yeah, how? Curious. I'd love to know. Let's take a look here. Chat room. Shannon mentioned on here, you have to ask logically, why are these people so scared of Trump? And see, that's the thing. When you take a look, what exactly did President Trump do that was so wrong, so horrible? They're making claims that he incited insurrection, but again, all you got to do is look at the videotape of that day. He was still speaking while the events over at the Capitol were going on. Now, whether or not there was Antifa agitators there getting people riled up, whether or not there were people there acting the damn fool like that QAnon shaman dude, or other people going into the Capitol who should have known better, he got wrapped up in the mob mentality. I get it, but there's a penalty to pay for that. But what did Trump do that was so bad? Oh, he sent mean tweets out to you. Oh, he called you crying Chuck Schumer, crazy Nancy Pelosi. He didn't give a damn about the establishment. But yet somehow, despite all the obstruction, the true obstruction that happened from the left, from the Democrats, from the mainstream media, he got more done in 4 years than the last 4 presidents have done combined. He did things that were pro-American. He brought back jobs. He created, for the first time in America's history, energy independence. He brokered bilateral deals with various countries. He struck peace accords in the Middle East. He started no new wars. And the only scandal that one could really attribute to the Trump administration was that he was spied on. If Trump really was a dictator that you say that he was, if he was really inciting insurrection and everything else, wouldn't he have been the one that was doing executive order upon executive order? Wouldn't he have been the one that would have instituted a full-on martial law and shut down everything, as he probably should have, over the summer with all the riots and all the agitators and people acting up? But clearly he didn't. Even throughout all this COVID mess, you can criticize him all you want, but it doesn't change the fact he acted within the guidelines of the Constitution and in the line of the spirit and the letter of the 10th Amendment on states' rights. The states that closed down weren't because of the president. They closed down because of the governors and their rights as a state and not federal overreach. But again, if you want to get the uneducated riled up, the people that aren't well versed in the Constitution, the people that just think snap your fingers, magic happens, then you rile them people up with false facts because they don't know any better. Pretty sad. Chat room time. Shannon mentioned on here, let's see, what do we got here? My dad and numerous relatives passed of cancer. And to tell me that's extremely offensive. Let's ask, could we cure cancer if we get rid of the left and big pharma? And that's kind of an interesting thing. Could we potentially cure cancer? There's a lot of people that tend to think that big pharma is holding back certain things like that. And I don't know the truth on that or not. But there is a line that, if you treat the symptoms, you create a customer for life. It does make you wonder. It really does. Yeah, Chuck Schumer. Actually, they said that he's incited an erection. That's true. It's a very hard charge to throw at somebody, isn't it? I'm sorry. I totally pulled Paris. My bad. Oh goodness. Dustin Diamond. Yes, he passed away today. I want to give a nod to Dustin Diamond here. Actor, played most notably Screech from Saved by the Bell, and he certainly had his share of controversies. I hear he wasn't necessarily the nicest guy to hang out with, but obviously he does have family, he does have friends, and hearts and condolences go out to them. I mean, losing anybody is terrible. Lung cancer is terrible. I've seen people die of it, and at 44 years old, my God, you want to talk about just ridiculously young, but. Oh man, Kim says here, oh, Ed Delgado, don't ever be like that naughty Paris. Well, every now and again, I got to throw a one-liner out there, little zinger. Yeah, and I saw that. TMZ reported a few weeks ago, about 3, that he had, what I saw, it didn't really specify the type of cancer or anything, but they said it was pretty advanced. And yeah, here we go. Unfortunately, Big C is the one that always wins, no matter what. So. All right, guys, like I said, I didn't want to go too long, 10 to 15 minutes. I'm 25, no surprise. I'm always late for my own shows, and I always run too damn long. That's kind of what we do here. But tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, the Caramel Conservative Podcast coming at you live. And take a look here, right on the bottom. Well, let's get the right thing. We're going to get it. Get it. Where are we at? Here it is. Right there. That link right down there. Click that link, copy and paste it, jot it down on your hand with a magic marker. Do what you got to do. Well, when you go to that link, you sign up for a free account, right? And when the show kicks off at 8 o'clock, you get yourself onto the show. You can be a part of the live chat room. So you can certainly join in there, join the conversation. There will be a live call-in number, 920-376-9400. That's the live call-in number right there. So if you do want to call in to be a part of the show tomorrow night, we'll be kicking it off. And then you guys want some laughs? We do need some laughs. I want you guys to check it out down there. Official Meme 46. That's a new Facebook page. We're going to be throwing up all kinds of memes on the Joe Biden, the Biden administration, Kamala Harris, White House press secretary, Jen Psaki. Jen Psaki is, I'm telling you right now, is meme gold. You got the left wanted to do Orange Man bad. Now we got an orange woman. Let's have fun with this. Let's share some laughs. Let's have a good time with it. But again, don't do anything that's going to get you arrested, because apparently you can get arrested for posting memes now. Yes, that's a story. We'll talk about that later. But anyway, guys, I want you guys to have a good night. I will see you tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. And until then, I'm going to enjoy some Jesse James Outlaw Bourbon. You guys have a good night. I'm out.